What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party, aka T3P. We're us two hooligans talk shop about the holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy Jsib, joined by, as always,
I'm KP.
Well, welcome back to Chapter 6 of the DCEU review in Memoriam, SHAZAM 2019, directed by David F. Sandberg, writers Henry Gayden, Darren Lemke, I think is how you pronounce it, Bill Parker, starring Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, Asher Angel, and I'm gonna go ahead and give Jack Dylan Razor. Was met with pretty positive reception when it first came out. It was one of the few beacons. Actually, we were kind of on a roll here at this point after the shit fest that was Justice League. You know, we had Wonder Woman, Aquaman, now Shazam. So we were kind of on a roll right here. We were feeling good as DC fans. We were like, yeah, we got some goodwill with the peeps. We're back, baby.
There's definitely some hope.
We'll get there. But yeah, right now we're still riding the high. KP, what were your initial thoughts on Shazam when it first came out, and how do you feel it holds up now?
Yeah, when it first came out, I was like, I remember being very entertained with it. It was like our first, like, truly family-friendly DCEU movie, which makes sense because family is kind of like the entire point of the character. So I remember thinking that. So I thought, you know, it was a good movie. It was entertaining. Good popcorn flick. And I think this one still holds up pretty well. I mean, in that regard. Like, I kind of watched it, and I kind of just had the same feeling as I did with Aquaman. I was like, well, I really enjoy this movie. There's nothing really about it that stands out a ton. And that's really all I can say about it. I don't know how you felt, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, home run or absolutely fucking incredible. But like, it's definitely a good movie. And then it's got its childish humor, as it would, again, because, you know, I mean, it's like, it's based around the high school kids. So like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and Zachary Levi does a really good job at like that personality. Like
I
he's
agree.
the adult child personality. He did a very good job at it.
I agree. Shazam was an interesting one for me when it first came out because, as everyone knows, I'll say the people that know that I typically like darker, grittier, more realistic takes. Really never wanted DC to start Marvel-fying their movies, which they eventually did, and I feel like completely tanked their whole universe more than it was already kind of going. But this is one of the few caveats. I was like, well, you don't necessarily have to have, just because they're all in the same universe doesn't mean you have to have the same tone for every single character. And I felt like Shazam should have been one of the lighter-hearted characters, one of the more family-friendly, lighthearted, more like less desaturated, I guess, like movies. And in a way, I'm kind of surprised. Was then and still am now at kind of how there are some like kind of like darker elements to this movie where I'm like, this kind of isn't quite fully a family movie per se, depending on how. I'd say if you have teens, obviously you're probably good. Like nothing gory or super bad happens, but there's definitely a lot of illusions and they show you but they don't show you in some things.
Yeah.
Which I think was done pretty well for considering what it needed to be. I don't think a darker, Man of Steel type take on Shazam would have worked. I think they made the right choice in doing what they did. I was also very happy with the fact that they, even though it was not so popular when it came out, but this was definitely very much inspired from the New 52 run of Shazam, where Billy Batson's kind of a prick, man. Like he's not a goody two shoe you know,
he's a little selfish.
He's a thief. Yeah, he's selfish. Yeah, he's not this pure of heart kid that, you know, most are used to. And I think it was smart that they went that way too, because Billy has an arc in this movie, a good one, I think, especially, and one I don't think necessarily ends in the way that, especially people unfamiliar with the character and how they would most likely think it would end, especially with his mother. You think that would be all happy-go-lucky, and then you kind of find out, nah, but she was under terrible circumstances, but no, she's not exactly the best person either. She's Billy's definitely better off without her, and
Yeah.
Billy finds his new home. You know, shortly after. I mean, that's when I think, you know, he gets his. This is when Billy Batson becomes Shazam moment, which is also a fucking cold as fuck moment. And it's like the final fight or whatever, and he's talking to the family, and he's like, well, ad-libbing here, or not ad-libbing, but paraphrasing here, like, some to the fact of, like, well, what good is a hero if he can't even save his own family? And, you know, he just starts slow walking off and, you know, just subtly says Shazam, and the bolt comes down. Just like, yeah, hard as fuck. Love it. Even the villain in here, it's somewhat stereotypical, but he's still Mark Strong. God, you were born to play Sinestro, and you got cucked in that terrible fucking movie. You didn't deserve it. Ah, fuck. But you got somewhat redemption here. But even his character has like a somewhat like something amazing, but you know, he has a reason for
understandable villain arc.
Yeah, he has his motives that are very understandable and why he would be the way he is, especially since his family's piece of shit. Shout out to Papa Lex from the Smallville series being in this once again, reappearing in the DC universe. Gotta love it. Yeah, I fucking adore this movie. Like, I absolutely adore this movie.
Do you? God, this is so bad. I'm gonna bring this up. Do you also know what else that guy is in that's DC related?
What?
He's the asshole doctor that creates Bane and Batman.
Bane,
and Robin.
yep, Batman and Robin, yep.
So Warner Brothers really likes that guy.
He's a good guy, all right? We like him here.
Yeah. But you're totally right, yeah. A villain arc that you kind of sit there and you're like, well, I kind of get, you're like, I get where this guy's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, Shazam the Wizard, you know, it's kind of tricked him, you know? He manipulated him. He let the 7 deadly sins get in his head. What a douche. Billy didn't have to pass that test because they were already gone. But your boy Shazam was weak.
Right.
Weak. But one of the few cons I will say is I'm not a huge fan necessarily of the designs of the 7 deadly sins. Not saying they're not like accurate or anything, but just I feel like they just don't 100% fit within the movie, I guess. And there's also just a little wonky, I feel like, CGI work at times where,
yeah,
as far as especially where like real actors are like interacting with them, especially in that boardroom scene. It's like eye lines don't match up like at all in certain frames, and you know, whatever. But that nitpicky type shit, but still kind of some that's also easily correctable, I would think. I don't know. At least the planning's done right. But
still never understood which one was Lust.
I think it was the Brimley chick looking.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I think Wrath was the one.
Yes, Wrath was the one that could fly and had the wings.
But
and then Greed was the one that had 4 arms, because obviously, like, he's greedy, so he's gonna have multiple hands to take things.
But he is, you know, big boy.
Yeah, dude. I don't know which one was gluttony. Yeah. It's glaringly obvious, that one.
And it surprised me that I still kind of like commend them, even though me personally, I would have held off. Makes sense in the storyline though, because it's about family. I still can't believe they gave us the Shazam family in the very first movie, like all of them. I was like jumping for joy in the theaters. I was I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're doing this. Like I was geeking out so hard because I thought there was no shot they would give us the Shazam family in the first movie.
I just love that they did it, and of all fucking actors for Frankie, it's Adrian Brody, and I was like, that's actually perfect. I was like,
yeah, I think for the most part,
he also can play the adult child just extremely well. And,
no, he did. Like
yeah,
Brody did a great job of feeling exactly like an older Freddy, like, or not an older Freddy,
right.
but just a Freddy in a older person's body. Like that was perfect. I think for the most part, I thought the older castings were pretty great. The one and I'm glad they got rid of it was Mary in the second one because it just made it didn't even make sense in this one either. I can't remember who the actress is that cast her. Even then I was like, I wish they would have just kept the same actress in this movie. Like, thank God in the second movie she doesn't change into somebody else because I feel like she just holds her own and she just looks old enough anyway. I don't know. She's about to go to college. Well, she's already an adult. Like when is she changing anyway?
Yeah, she's 18, and it's like, did you really need the recast for like presumably like a 7 to 10 year age difference? No, because if you're casting an adult in their prime, if you will, I think of it as sports, and you would consider someone that's like around the age of 20, between the age of 25 and 28.
Yeah, it's just they got rid of it. Thank God. Just thank God. I think the fighting and the action was well done overall. Got little hints of Man of Steel in there, which of course, I appreciate in some elements. I even kind of liked the whole. I think they did a good job or a decent job. I won't say they did a great or good job, but they did a good job setting up the basically the faults of the villain and how to conquer them and set that up early in the movie. I mean, they made it blatantly obvious, but still set it up. I like when there's payoffs like that. You get rewarded as somebody that pays attention to shit, even though you didn't have to pay attention that hard. But this is supposed to be a super thinker movie, like you said, and
right.
It's just a good family fun movie. I think if you got teen children, probably gonna be right up their alley, especially if they're into superheroes and especially Zachary Levi acting a fool.
Right.
I love him so much more in this movie than I did the second one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's yeah. I mean, this one is far better than the sequel. I very much enjoy this one because it's just like it's nice on little origin story for him. The sequel kind of, I mean, we had talked about it. If any of you out there want to go back and refresh yourselves on the discussion of Fury of the Gods, because we're not gonna do that one again. Yeah, the sequel, it's just like, I don't know that it was so much like. It just seemed like I remember in the sequel, it just seemed like when Billy would actually turn into Shazam, it's like he went back to being just a complete idiot.
Yeah,
it just didn't make sense. It's like he got stupid. It's like when he transformed, he became stupid. So that was just it was all horrible. But as far as this one though, like this one, it makes sense that he would be like that because again, like we said, like they're in high school and he's an innocent kid and whatnot. So this one, it makes sense a lot, and I always laugh like the convenience store scene was just I would like to buy some beer.
Your finest beer.
Your finest beer. And then like this is your moment, dude, and he's just like goes to stop him. He's like, oh, it could just be the suit that's bulletproof. Oh yeah. He's like, shoot him in the face. Wait, in
Wait,
the
what?
face, and he's just and he's just like getting like shot, and he's like, it's just so dumb. Oh man.
I do like the subtle touch of how his cheeks and forehead got subtly like red.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit of the pink and red.
Right.
Yeah. I adore that scene, and yeah, especially when he is like when he's like laughing and then he turns to him, he's like, "You're dead."
Right. Yeah.
He's some flying out the window.
Yeah, I love that. I do love the nod too, where I think Freddy says he's like, "You're just like Superman." Well, kinda, just not as strong or something. And he goes, "Or almost," or something, and I just laughed. I'm like, well, I mean, the whole point of this character originally was so Superman had someone to keep him in check. Because magic. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that, and just like you said, this is just a good origin movie, and I mean, it's just so true too. I mean, if you a young you and I, one of us stumbles upon powers in this day and age, but what are we gonna do? Probably make a YouTube channel, filming all of one of us doing our stupid bullshit.
Right, yeah.
Dude,
that's the funny thing is like this movie came out like then, but like if they made that movie now, it'd be like they'd be being assholes on TikTok.
Yep.
Like you know, they'd just be making a shit ton of TikToks, and that's exactly what it would be. So you're right. Like that was like the good touch as well. And going back to that darkness of it, like you're right, like it is like dark. I mean, good God, you know, once Mark Strong gets the demons, he just walks into where his dad and brother are, and he takes his brother and tosses him out a window. Like it's like, man, dude, it's like you were resentful for like
fucking
30
Mace
years
Windu
of your
his
life.
ass, just fucking see a bitch.
Yeah. It's like you were very resentful for 30 years. Holy shit. And then like you said too, like, and I kind of forgot that like that scene with the mom was just kind of really dark. Like she's just a piece of shit. Like basically it's like they don't directly say it in the movie, but she's basically, yeah, when I saw you, it's like you might as well have said like, yeah, when I saw you sitting there on the police car, I realized it's like you basically, yeah, you realized how you could just disappear from your responsibility of your kid.
Yeah,
And what I hated too about that was like you could have wrote that more strongly and more emotional. Cause like Billy wanted to find her for so long. She says that to him, and he's just kind of like kind of heartbroken, and he's just, you know, walks off. Like he could have been angry there and should have been. He could have like said to her, like, I've looked for you my entire life, and now it's come to find out that you're alive, for one, and number two, you just like you could have came to me and like you dumped me on cops. And like how she says the line of like, I just knew that you would be a lot better off without me. And he literally could have sat there and said, yeah, but I wasn't, because I had to go through foster care systems. And he's like, and that's why I was trying to find you, because no one should do that to a child. It's like that could have been like really strong there, but they just made it kind of like passive. And then yeah, good for Billy, because he does realize like, oh, so this foster family with all these other kids who have all just been nice to me and I've been an asshole back to them, they actually are worth a shit, because you know, he made the assumption that his own blood would always be better. And then it's shown to him that like, no, your own blood's a piece of shit. So I don't know. I
you
felt
didn't
like
get
that
lost,
scene
Billy. She just left you.
right. I just felt like that. I just remember I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, it's like if that was me in that situation, I'd be like screaming at that lady. Like, ah, man, it's like just I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
I agree. They could have went harder on that scene. I think it was done well for what they went for. At least like especially the line of like,
yeah,
now's not a good time.
Mm-hmm.
like Jesus fuck you bitch. Like,
right, yeah.
But I agree. It would have been better if they would have went a little more like that, but I do kind of like how I do think it would have been better, but I do like the fact that they went the way of just like he kind of realizes it just very quickly in the moment of like, oh wow, this is not what I was envisioning this whole time. Like I was kind of wrong on what my perception of family is. Family is just what you make it. And
Right.
at that moment, he realized he already had a family, and that's when I think he also in the moment decided that like that's when he was gonna. They reference in the movie of like that's when he chose that as his home. Like that is the moment where he was like, no, that's my family. This is my home now. I'm not running away from here. These are my people now. Also, shout out to the mom and dad in this movie. They're fucking awesome. Just they're straight G's. They're just honest. They've been through the system before. They're just like, we get it, man. You know, shit sucks. You know, you gotta run off every once in a while. We get it. Just come back and talk to us. Come on.
Yeah.
There's just once again, just kind of like Aquaman. Watching this made me sad because I already just the sequel that comes after it. I'm just like,
yeah,
like, fuck, man, you got it so right the first time. How'd you drop the ball that hard? And Wonder Woman too. Fuck, man. Fuck.
He'll be right back.
God damn you. I didn't even realize that. We had this nice trifecta of movies that was like, yay, hi, and then all the sequels are shit. Just straight poopers.
Except the Suicide Squad. That's the only one that was like, oh, the sequel is much better than the first one. But yeah, as far as like your hero movies, yeah, all the sequels have been a worse movie. Now again, I did not hate Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom because I thought it was just hilarious and it's entertaining, but I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily better than the first one. But
yeah, even if you like the sequels, I feel like you can't deny they're downgrades from the first one.
They are. Well, the Shazam one, I was like, I don't know. There's something about it.
And I honestly think that's probably the stronger of the three. Other than the Suicide Squad. I don't count that one. Because the first one was mixed reaction, so I don't know. Not quite on the same as these three, because these ones were at least mostly positive.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the secret, but oh boy. Well, any other things you want to throw in about Shazam? Oh, love the suits. Love the suits. We'll say that. Love the suit design.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks exactly like what they drew up in the comics, because, I mean, that's the nice thing about when you have, like, a very generic suit, is, like, you can't really screw it up, so.
You've seen plenty of movies do it before. In fact, one just recently did it that we didn't go see, that I think we're refusing to review until it comes out on stream.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to see that piece. And that piece of shit got a little spoiled for me today, and I was like, yeah, knew that. So, and I was right.
Before you go, I was gonna say, after your talk, well, actually, this was technically off camera because I edited it out, but I was gonna give you a nod that hashtag Kevin was right. It seemed, from what I've heard, seems like you pretty much called what the movie was gonna be, which is fucking, I almost just want to say like slimy and just snake like.
I just knew it's just like, and I hate to say it, but it's because it's a Sony movie. I just knew that's how it was gonna go.
It's almost Morbius levels bad of what I feel like is almost borderline false mark on the impression I got. I'll just leave it. If people remember the teases that were in the trailer for Morbius and
fuck you, dude, you're fucking right. I mean, that's probably why it's been reviewed just as bad as Morbius, is because it's the same. Yeah, it's like the same
false promises.
Same exact false promises.
So yeah. Anyway, yep. Anything else for Shazam though before we take off?
Nothing else for Shazam.
Alrighty, well, let's get down to scores. KP, what are you ranking? What's your rating for?
Same. I think I rated Aquaman this, and I really mean in that it's the same for me. I'd say it's a 7.5 for me.
Yep. I will say this. I agree with that. I wouldn't even agree with a. I would agree with a 7 as well. I'm gonna let my DC fandom bias sneak through a little bit because I do adore Shazam the character overall. Thought this was a great first outing for the character. I'm gonna be a little higher and just give it an 8. Because, like I said, I adore this movie. I do. It's one of the few movies where I can just sit and I'm pretty much just smiling the whole time. Just like, I can't believe we got this movie. Thank God I was alive for it, you know?
Thank God I was alive for it.
So, next week, Birds of Prey or Harley Quinn and the masculine... I don't fucking know, man. That's next week. Birds of Prey.
It's called Birds of Prey.
Thank you. I agree.
They changed it to Birds of Prey because they realized that title was stupid.
No, they switched, isn't it? It was originally Birds of Prey. Nobody apparently knew what it was, and then they had to change it to Harley Quinn. Something, because that was their thought.
I thought it was the other way.
I was like, oh, nobody knows who Birds of Prey is, so we need to make sure Harley Quinn's in the title. But anyway,
remember.
That'll be next week. We only have a few left, honestly. Because, yeah, like KP alluded to earlier, if we've already reviewed it on the channel, which really only have like
original IMDb original title Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Again, overly stupid long title. That's why they shortened it to Birds of Prey. I remember that.
That's just ridiculous.
Yes. Sorry. Cut you off, but yeah.
But yep, that'll do it for this week. So next week we have Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, Fabulous Emancipation, bullshit, Barbie version Suicide Squad .250. That's next week. So let us know what you thought of Shazam. If you'd like to see any of the past movies from this review list, there'll be a little box up here. So yep. KP, where can the people find you?
At the link below. And all socials everywhere and on Twitch at Politus.
Oh man, it's official. One name rules it all, and you can find me Twitch and Twitter, aka X gonna give it to you. Please God, let there be a new social media that I can move to. At Jsib20. So until next time, I'm your boy Jsib.
And I'm Politus, or KP for short.
See ya later.